The show's been spending a lot of time on the Ebola crisis, and we're seeing it out in campaigns. I was just on the road. You've both been on the road, and suddenly yes, it's a little bit about Obamacare. Yes, it's about the role of government, but Ebola is coming up. In one of the marquee Senate races, Kay Hagan is the Democratic incumbent. Republicans say their candidate, Tom Tillis, has caught up over the last week. One of the reasons they think is that he's stressing security issues and Ebola. He was one of the early ones saying, let's have a travel ban. Kay Hagan initially sided with the president, said, I didn't think that was necessary. Over the weekend, she's changed her mind last position. Listen to her here in Charlotte saying, let's do this.
We need to have a temporary travel ban on non-U.S. citizens coming from the affected countries in West Africa.
Tom Tillis had a statement from his spokesman essentially saying that's a flip-flop, desperate attempt to mislead the media, another example of how failed leadership of her and the president. Is this really going to be an impact in these races?
Well, it was really interesting. You and I were both in Colorado last week, and we were talking to a Democratic strategist out there who said that after Duncan's death in Texas, that they saw an immediate drop in the polls for Democrats all over the country. And it's really becoming a huge issue just because that's all that people want to talk about. Right. In Denver in particular, that's where Frontier Airlines is headquartered. And so you saw Mark Udall come out this weekend, not quite for a travel ban, but going toward where Hagan is, and they're obviously responding to the polls. You've got something like 2/3 of Americans at this point who want some kind of a travel ban, even though the experts say that would not be an effective way to deal with this. I
have to assume that every day candidates are out there talking about Ebola, whether it's the specifics or just the general, it makes people feel anxious, it makes people feel down, that can't be good for Democrats.
No, and that's why Republicans are so happy to talk about this. Yes, there's a public health concern, but it's an opportunity to once again put Democrats on the spot and test their allegiance to the president, who, of course, until this weekend really wasn't very supportive of taking these steps, putting in a czar, even talking about a travel ban. But almost immediately, Mark Udall, Kay Hagan, Michelle Nunn, where I was in Georgia, told reporters on Friday, and me and others, yes, if we've got to do this, let's do it. It's for the safety of the public. But all of them hadn't said anything, really, until Republicans started trying to jam it down their throat.
And you were hearing lots of crazy things on talk radio, too,
right,
where some Republicans and talk radio hosts are trying to tie Ebola to the border crisis, to ISIS. I mean, it's just sort of spiraling out of control.
Some of it is clear. The facts are often missing from the debate or exaggerated in the debate. It happens in politics, but there's no question, you're right. Republican talk radio, they are calling this a failure on the president's part. They're saying things that seem a tad sketchy, that ISIS is flooding terrorists across the border infected with Ebola. Haven't seen proof of that, but they're trying to gin up turnout without a question. We'll see how this plays out.